The Wammo Breakfast.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The voice of the creative economy.
With Vincent Heeringa.
Yes, Idealogue magazine is one place he likes to hang out a bit. G'day there, Vincent.
Good morning, Wammo.
Good morning. And talking extreme weather this morning, Vincent.
I am, although it's been a very mild August so far for all of us in New Zealand. The fires of Moscow, the floods of Pakistan and the extreme heat across Europe are real indications that the world is going through quite extreme weather conditions in various parts, and the temptation is to link them to climate change. But is that true, or are these things just a result of us being more aware of them? I mean, weather happens, doesn't it, all the time?
It certainly does. You go outside, it's weather. But records are being broken all the time now. Yeah, and we're talking about records that have spanned 100 years or more.
Yes, that's right. And in fact, the latest report that has collected data from 300 climate scientists around the world. Yeah, this is one of the things, by the way, that I find puzzling about the criticism of the ICC reports, is that those reports are accumulated from the individual reports of hundreds of scientists. So it always puzzles me that they are criticised for pushing a particular barrow, when it's very hard to get 300 scientists all in agreement.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, that's exactly what has happened with this State of Climate report, where 300 scientists from 160 research groups across 48 countries have contributed, and the 10 indicators show that indeed the Earth is getting warmer. There seems to be absolutely no doubt about that now, and those 10 indicators are rising air temperature over land, rising sea surface temperature, rising air temperature over the oceans, the rising sea levels, rising ocean heat, rising humidity, rising of the Arctic sea, declining of the Arctic sea ice, declining glaciers, and declining spring snow in the northern hemisphere. And when that many scientists with that much data are putting together a single picture, it does make a compelling case that the Earth is getting warmer, and indeed the last 3 decades, each decade has been getting warmer, and so the 2000s have been the warmest decade on record.
Yes. So, and who knows where that's going to take us in the next wee while, but...
Well, the models, the climate models, of which, that you have to say they are models, so there is, no one knows the future, that's the thing about it, indicate that a rising air, a rising overall temperature will increase the amount of dramatic weather, so, floods, hurricanes, droughts, etc. So while it's impossible at any one stage to say, well, that particular hurricane is due to climate change, you can say that overall the rising warmth of the world will lead to and contribute to increased extreme weather conditions.
And because that was the pattern that climate records show from soil and rock deposits from thousands and millions of years ago, that they already show that, don't they? That this has happened before, but it happens at a time when the Earth is going through crazy, extreme changes.
Oh, that's right, and even if you did say that the Earth is in a cycle or in a pattern, the point is there is change happening.
Yeah. And
some of that change isn't too bad. I mean, in the book we published, Hot Topic, for instance, Invercargill may well be growing grapes. And it could be that the far north turns more into a Brisbane,
that's on the lightest end of the scale of what could possibly happen. I mean,
well, exactly. I'm just trying to look for positives here, Wammo.
Because in the past, it's affected the way species have evolved on Earth, obviously, and some species have been completely wiped out.
Oh, absolutely. And the Earth is a very long-standing ecosystem, and it will change and adapt. But the question is, what's the disruption that will occur, particularly to us as a species, as a result? So, no doubt that the Earth is changing. Pretty much no doubt that humans are contributing to it, but certainly a lot of doubt about the extent of the change and the disruption that that's going to cause. But what interests me, I suppose, is what's the New Zealand innovation response to this? And there are pockets of activity, but we still seem to be in denial about the amount of innovation that could be achieved in New Zealand to adapt to this new world and to this carbon-constrained world. And it was interesting to me to hear a lawyer who is a British lawyer speaking at the annual Climate and Business Conference in Australia, which is an Australia-New Zealand conference, talking about the benefits that New Zealand will derive from having an emissions trading scheme, which is kind of, in some ways, ahead of the curve. It's ahead of Australia and it's ahead of the UK and the US, but as we've talked about before, only marginally ahead, and there are lots of pockets of emissions trading schemes emerging around the world. Including China, which last week signalled that it too is moving to an emission trading scheme within the next 2 years, or at least it is making plans to. And this lawyer was saying that New Zealand is in a really great position to benefit from kicking off its ETS early by adapting and having systems, and also it may well provide technology that can help companies adapt to a world where carbon does have a price.
So there are ways for us to profit out of this, Vincent. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, and yes, some really, at a business level through the emissions trading scheme, at a really practical level, Wammo, like in the latest Good magazine, which is out now, by the way. It's got the beautiful Kirsten Morell on the cover. There's an article about...
what's she doing on the cover, Vincent?
What is Kirsten Morell doing? She's looking gorgeous.
Okay, attracting buyers, all right, yeah.
From Golden Horse to Green Goddess.
Yeah.
It's a women's mag.
Yes.
But there's a great feature there on eco-pimping your home, and it's a series that we're starting. And the evidence for improving the quality of your home just in a warmth factor, so getting more sunlight, keeping the warmth that you do capture inside, is really dramatic on your health, on the value of the property. If you're a landlord, for instance, the evidence is that if you've got a warm home, you'll have 83% higher chance of retaining your tenants. So,
okay.
What I find puzzling about climate change is, on the one hand, there is this overwhelming evidence of threat from nature and the threat from our destruction. But on the other hand is this incredible opportunity to harness change and innovation and improvement. And I sort of, I swing from feeling completely demoralised and depressed to feeling excited about our ability to make change happen.
Good. We'll finish on that very positive note from you, Vincent.
Thank you, Wammo. See you next week.
See ya. And I will play now the Green Goddess, Kirsten Morell, with a track here called Ghosts.